Sioux City, Iowa for the national championships. And the game was over. I'd been AD for maybe a year or two. And I walk in the hallway and our women's basketball team is there. And one of our star players, Renee, is sitting there and she's just bawling. I said, I didn't know what to say. So I said, "Hey, Renee, are you really sad that you lost?" And she looked at me, she said, "I could care less about the loss. My family's now getting separated. My family is now getting separated because I'll no longer play with these ladies ever again." I spent bus trips and hotel rooms and food and practices with these athletes. And so I learned my lesson that really the game is the least important part of it. It's really the relationships that are most important.
Welcome to Building a Champion, the podcast where we explore what it takes to create lasting success and championship culture in athletics. Today, we are heading to St. Paul, Minnesota, where the University of Northwestern St. Paul continues to make waves across multiple sports, all while staying deeply committed to faith-driven, character-based athletics. Leading the charge is Athletic Director Matt Hill, who has been instrumental in supporting coaches, elevating student athletes, and helping teams thrive on and off the field. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jordan. Glad to be here. Appreciate the time.
We are happy to have you.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of your teams did good this year, and we're excited to hear more about it.
Yeah, I'll be glad. I always like sharing about the success of our team, so no short on words here.
Well, Matt, let's start with a huge year for Northwestern athletics across multiple programs. You did have defining moments, starting with women's track and field. At the national championships, you had your first individual national championship or champion since 2004, and the team broke 3 school records. It's a big moment, especially in the first year under a new coach. What did that performance mean for the program and the department as a whole?
Yeah, we've got a new track coach who ran for an Olympian himself out in California. Real excited about the program. We're trying to grow that program. It's been kind of a quiet program that we've had for the last 10, 15 years. Really taking a focus on advancing that program on the competitive level. So Coach Fitzgerald came in. Excitement around the program, some new recruits. Not a huge squad, but the squad that was there was very talented. So second place in the conference with only about 7 individuals that really scored in that meet. So the ones that scored high, if you will, including Grace, who won the national championship in the 400-meter intermediate hurdles. She's a tenacious athlete. She plays volleyball on our volleyball team, which has been in the Final Four of NCAA. So Grace is, if you just watch her, she's a gym rat. She's in the weight room, and she's a great individual. So yeah, that program's been fun to see grow. We have some great plans for that in the future. And we want to see it continue to grow and be more and more competitive every day and increase our roster sizes and the depth of that program.
And then your women's basketball team did pretty well at nationals. What was it like seeing them compete on that level and giving a nice little send-off to those seniors on the team?
Yeah, that was certainly fun. I got to go with them down to Branson, Missouri. So I got to enjoy all the festivities of Branson, if you will. Aaron Call's been doing a great job as the head coach there. Been there many years now. Fun to watch those seniors. You know, I get to see their kids come in as freshmen and wonder how good they're going to be. And in my 26 years here, it's really a joy for me to watch them as they exit as seniors to see the talent level, them grow as a human being. And so it's really fun to be engaged in that. So for them to compete down there at the National Christian College national championships was fun. Had a couple close games. Could have gone maybe potentially to the championship game, but we didn't. But it was fun. And you know what? Just watching the joy in the ladies to be together one last time. It was really, really enjoyable for me to watch all of our programs as they compete and as they get to end their careers. My son ended his career in soccer this year. So kind of it's a bittersweet thing to watch a student athlete who realizes this is the last game they're ever going to play as a college athlete, as a competitor, really in a national level. I get to be a part of that, so it's a joy to me to watch that.
And then volleyball, also a strong program at the school.
Yeah, you know, the rest of our programs, we I think basically have good years and average years. Our volleyball program has never had an average year the last 16, 17 years at least. Coach Wilmoth is an outstanding coach. I'd highly recommend her on a podcast. She's a nationally known speaker on culture. She speaks to Navy SEALs and United States Olympic Committee, and she's here at little old Northwestern in St. Paul, Minnesota. But she runs a tremendous program. She has girls that turn down Division I, Division II full rides to come play volleyball here, since we're a non-scholarship school. 2 Final Fours, really close to national championship, and I'll share a cool story later about the integrity of that team and how it really maybe cost us a national championship. Um, but it's great to watch. Every year we've been to conference champs a gazillion years in a row, which leads you to the national playoffs. We've hosted the regional playoffs for NCAA, which is a hard thing to get because our program is so good. We've been able to host that. So I really look forward to volleyball. I love watching the sport. I could never coach. I can't figure out rotations and things like that. I've been doing this for a long time. But watching the sport and watching the level of competition of our women's volleyball team is outstanding. Last year, men's football qualified for the NCAA playoffs. We won our conference. So they had a tournament bid and got in there. Tennis teams were close to some national bids. So overall, our programs really compete for for some higher level postseason tournaments, but not every year. That doesn't mean it was an unsuccessful year if we didn't. Softball was real close last year with a bunch of seniors to make the national tournament. Our ladies were so. Well, I'm just a fan of all of our sports, and really, for us, the ultimate goal is not to win national championship. Would be great, but it's to watch young men grow in their character, their faith, and get a college degree at Northwestern.
You piqued my interest. What happened with that volleyball game?
So, about 2000, I'm gonna say early 2000, early middle 2000s, our volleyball coach was coming up with an acronym of a team, and it's TRAIL. Leave a trail wherever you go, and the I in trail is integrity. So she challenged their teams with those different starting letters. What are you going to do with tenacity? What are you going to do with release? And it got to integrity, and she said, "What are we going to do as a team to demonstrate integrity this year?" And one of the girls said, "Well, how about we do honor calls?" And honor calls in volleyball is when you are at the net and you block a shot and it hits your fingertips and it goes out and they give you the point because they can't see it. Volleyball moves at such a high rate. I'm amazed how the officials can even tell if it's touched or not. So if it hits your fingers and it's touched, a lot of times you'll get the point even though you touched the volleyball because they can't tell. Well, our girls said that's not really integrity. If I know I touched that ball, we should earn the point. And they battled because they're like, "Well, it's the official's job. It's not our job." Yeah, I don't know if I really touched it or not. I'm not sure. And some girls were like, "Nope. If we know we touched the ball, why should we earn the point?" So they started making integrity calls that year. Interesting. Officials didn't necessarily really want us to. It wasn't because we were showing them up, but they wanted to make the calls. We got some pushback from some conference schools who didn't want us to make integrity calls because they felt it was acting like we were kind of like holier than thou. Well, you're the goody two shoes to make honor calls. But ultimately, we made honor calls the entire year. That year, by the way, that we won the NCAA's all divisions, one Division I, II, and III, 1,000 schools. We won the sportsmanship award that year down in St. Louis. Our team flew down and our coach flew down and accepted the award for what they call the sportsmanship award, which is probably one of the biggest awards we've ever won in Northwestern's history. Fast forward to the national playoffs, a few years later, we're playing Calvin, who's a dominant team in Division III volleyball. For years, they were and this was on their home court. We're in the Final Four game. It's set 4, so you play best of 5. It's like 24-23. So, they played 25. And we get a call for a ball hit out of bounds. Well, we were down 2-1 at the time. Our girl raised her finger like this, which means I touched it. We lose the point, match is over.
Oh, wow.
We lose. So we lost on an integrity call, which I'd say we won. We really won. The other team was amazed. Fans came down and said, "I can't believe you would do that. Tell me more about what's going on here." Girls able to share their view, their integrity, their faith, how they're called to be higher than just the game. The game is only a game, but my integrity is who I am. And it had ripples. Articles were written about it. The NCAA did some things about it. So the spark from a little meeting in a locker room about integrity really blossomed to other schools now do it. Others say, "You know what? We're going to do the same thing. We're going to demonstrate integrity." So long story, I know, but I think it's a hallmark of our program, volleyball program, to show that we have girls now that want to play for that program. They want to be a part of that culture. They believe it's important in their faith and their journey through life to have a team that really believes in integrity. You know, when I played basketball, I won't use my coach's name, but he always told us that when the ball went out of bounds, act like it was yours because the official might give you the ball. And later on in life, I thought, that's not really integrity. If I know I hit the ball out of bounds, I should walk back to the other side of the court and not try and take advantage of the game, if you will. And so I really appreciate the fact that our volleyball team takes that high road of integrity. Other teams do too in certain situations. I think our tennis team calls too many balls in when they're actually out, because it's a self call in tennis. In college tennis, you call your own ins and outs. Like, that ball was out by that much and you called it in, but they take the high road to say, I think it was in, it was close. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Wow.
And tennis is one of those hard sports to tell sometimes if that ball's in or out.
Yeah, it goes too fast.
I played tennis competitively, and it can be tough.
Sure.
And I'm one of the ones that I'll just say it was in. Couldn't tell.
Right. Yeah.
Across all your sports, there's always that one moment, the final game, final event, or everything's on the line. Can you walk us through one of those moments this year that really stuck out to you emotionally as an AD?
Well, I'll use one personally. So my son played soccer since he was 5. And I played through club soccer. He played Premier League soccer. So he's a high level soccer. We traveled the country to watch him play. He decided to come to Northwestern to where his dad's at, which is great. I got to see a lot of his games. And my wife and I were sitting in the very last game that they were probably going to play. They were in the conference finals. The team we played was outstanding. We were most likely going to beat him. And I said to my wife, this is going to be the end of Aaron's career. This will be it for his soccer. You can play old man soccer, whatever, but his competitive days are going to be done. How are we going to feel about this? Because I see this all the time as an AD for 26 years. I've witnessed many last games of college student athletes' careers. And it was really emotional. Now I understand that aspect as a parent. When their son or daughter is done, he came off the field and all of a sudden the tears started flowing. And this was it. And it wasn't so much the loss of the game, actually. That was probably not even part of it all. It was that the career is done. And something that I really enjoyed doing in my life is now ending, and I have something new that's going to be starting, hopefully. But very emotional for me because I've never had cried at the last game of anybody's career except for my son's soccer career now. And so now I can put myself in the shoes of parents who and the student athletes now on their last game as they play it. I've seen football players ball after the last game of their senior year. I've seen it. One time I made a dumb mistake as a young AD. We were actually at an NAIA school at the time, and we were playing in Sioux Center, Iowa, Sioux City, Iowa, for the national championships. And the game was over. I'd been AD for maybe a year or two, and I walk in the hallway, and our women's basketball team is there. And one of our star players, Renee, is sitting there, and she's just bawling. I said, I didn't know what to say. So I said, "Hey, Renee, are you really sad that you lost?" And she looked at me, she said, "I could care less about the loss. My family's now getting separated. My family is now getting separated because we'll no longer play with these ladies ever again." And I spent bus trips and hotel rooms and food and practices with these athletes. And so I learned my lesson that really the game is the least important part of it. It's really the relationships that are most important.
Mm-hmm.
Got me tearing up a little bit.
Yeah.
I played college soccer, and so it does bring you back to that last game. And it is a weird feeling because you dedicate so much of your life and your time to excelling at that sport. And then in one game, it's done.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Well, one thing that sets Northwestern apart, as you've made very clear, is your commitment to Christ-centered athletics. How do you make sure that faith stays front and center, not just in your mission statement, but in the actual student athlete experience?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jordan. And I love talking about this. I'm getting up there as an AD for a while here. And I love speaking on the topic of integration of faith and sport. Uh, Someday you may read a book called Compete with Purpose that's coming out from me. Our tagline Northwestern is Compete with Purpose. We actually trademarked that about 8 years ago. Because we feel it's really important. I know it's 3 words, but those 3 words are extremely important. We break down those 3 words for our student athletes when they come in every year. What does it mean to compete? What does it mean to compete with something? And what's that something? It's purpose. Based on Colossians 3:17. Whatever you do, whether in words or actions, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, giving thanks to God the Father through him. Whatever you do, kick a ball, write a paper, date a male or female, work at Target, whatever you do, and in words or to actions, make sure you do it to honor Christ. So we start with compete with purpose is our foundational principles, and then our 3 core values are these. And we preach these, and we enact on these, and I evaluate my coaches on these. Pursue Christ first. Our top core values: pursue Christ first. Place Christ first. You place Christ first in all you do. So no, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you place Christ first. In the Old Testament, they put the Ark of the Covenant ahead of them. They went to battle. God was in front of them. So we place Christ first in all we do. And sometimes that's difficult for kids who haven't come from that necessary arena. So we place Christ first. The second thing is invest in relationships. So we say you need to invest in your teammates, your coaches, your bus driver, your hotel worker, your restaurant, server, your roommates, your officials, your opponents. Invest in relationships. How can we place Christ first and then also invest in relationships? What's that look like for us? So we go through some practical things that show how we invest in relationships. And then the third thing is pursue your best. So we have a weight room for a reason. We have trophy cases for a reason. We have coaches and staff for a reason. This isn't intramural sports. This is collegiate athletics. We have a strength and conditioning coach for a reason. So we want to pursue our best. So in those three venues, you see the last one is to pursue your best, but it doesn't mean it's not important. So we feel like winning on the scoreboard, but losing in those 3 areas, we lost the game. We did not win if we didn't place Christ first, special relationships, and we didn't do our best. We can sometimes win with an average team. You might beat somebody, but did you do those other 3 things? If you did, and the scoreboard has more bulbs on their side than ours, we lost. We still won in our eyes. I rarely ever in my 26 years evaluate coaches on wins and losses. I don't talk X's and O's my coaches unless it's just fun. Like, why did you decide to do this? That was kind of cool. You guys ran that trick play or whatever. That's not my job. My job is to hire them and empower them to do those 3 core values. But when I end every season, I ask them when I evaluate, how do these 3 things affect your program this year? Where did you place Christ first? How do we invest in relationships? And where do we pursue our best? And where do we need to improve? And so that infuses everything we do in our program. We tell student athletes to recruit them. This may or may not be the place you want to attend. If you don't want to grow in your faith, I would choose a different school if I were you. And I'm not trying to be, mean, but I don't know. I don't think this is the spot you're going to be, because you're not going to like daily devotions or chapels, or we play different types of music in our arenas and things. We're not playing maybe what everybody else is playing. We want to be different. We want to be set apart. We want to be infectious. Our latest strategic plan is our job is to impact students, to impact the world, is what we're calling it. And so how do we do that? We do that through our 3 core values.
Yeah, that's important when you put Christ first. Yes, sports are important, but obviously where we spend eternity and how we can help other people come along that, introduce them to Christ, having eternal impact is way more important than having impact on the basketball court, on the soccer field, and things like that. So that's awesome that you guys, and you as a top leader at that school, put that first. That's awesome to see.
Oh, you're right, Dylan. If we graduate a student and we didn't at least challenge them in their faith, everybody's on a different journey, right?
Yep.
We didn't do our job.
Yep.
If somebody leaves here and there was no different when they came in, it's either their fault or our fault. I don't want it to be our fault. I don't want it to be our fault that you weren't challenged in your faith. Some people grow hugely while they're at this school. Some small increments, but growth is still growth. My definition of success is attempting to be better today than I was yesterday. I won't always be, but if I attempt to be better today, it was a successful day. If I didn't attempt to be better today as a father, as a husband, as an employee, it wasn't a very successful day. And I have days that aren't very successful, to be honest with you, or weeks maybe that aren't very successful. But we tell our student athletes, it's not about your sport. You're not identified by your sport. You're identified as a child of God.
Oh.
And in so doing so, he tells us to be pursuing him. And so we should be pursuing Christ first in all that we do through sport. Sport's a great conduit. Billions of dollars is spent on sport every year. How many TV stations are there that have sports? Great podcasts that talk about sports. It dominates our society. So it's a great platform to use, I believe, to integrate and to share the gospel of Christ to this world.
Agreed.
And as I was doing my research preparing for this, One thing that I kept seeing pop up on your Facebook shout outs was it's not just about performance on the field or the court or the track, but your student athletes are also delivering in the classroom tons of academic recognitions.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to let me give you some propaganda here. This is a great university. Been here 26 years. Um, we tell kids when we recruit them, you need to spend a night to see what it's really like wherever you attend, to see if it's different. We don't roll out the red carpet for recruits. We treat them nice, but we want them to see what it's like as a student. If we roll out the red carpet and the cafeteria still serves steak and eggs when they're here, but when they show up, it's hash browns and whatever pancakes. Then they don't really get the real feel of who we are. So we want them to know that our first and foremost goal is they got to get a college degree. If they're not here to get a college degree, then they're wasting time and money. We're a private institution, not super cheap to attend any school nowadays. And so get her to get a college degree. The great thing is your college degree is going to have a Christ-centered bent to it, whether it's accounting or engineering or nursing. It's going to be in the eyes of how we can serve Christ in that field, in that career. So we do get great student athletes. Our student athletes perform as good, if not better, than the general student population. Our retention rates for student athletes is in the 96th percentile, so they come back. And so we want to make this a place where when they step on campus, it feels like a second home. And for some kids, unfortunately, it is their first home, and because the home life wasn't so great. But we want this to be a place where they can flourish. And when they leave with a great college degree, a great experience, and they're ready to share their faith with the world in whatever profession, teaching, law, whatever that might be when they leave, that they take that with them. And all their experiences on the fields and courts just enhance that.
This year's momentum that you guys have going is real. You've got rising programs, record-breaking athletes, and a strong foundation. What is next for Northwestern Athletics? Any exciting developments, goals, areas of growth you're watching?
That's a great question, Jordan. Really timely. We have a strategic plan we just finished, and that once again is to impact students, to impact the world. And it has three main areas of that, and it's in being competitive. We want to keep getting more and more competitive. I think Northwestern's been a sleeper for a while. We've had some teams that have had some spotty, successes. We're really looking to amp up all of our sports teams to have that. And what's that look like? We want to be fiscally sustainable, and higher ed right now is shaky. You can read about colleges closing every day. How can athletics be fiscally sustainable for the future? What's that look like for our modeling, our financials? And the last one is engagement. How do we engage ourselves once again in on campus, off campus here in the St. Paul, Minneapolis area, but also in the world? And so we haven't had a strategic plan for a long time, if not ever, in athletics. And so this is kind of fun to roll it out. So some of the exciting things are, what sports could we potentially add? Can we add some junior varsity programs to some of our sports and grow rosters there? What facilities do we need? We're all excited about potentially another additional facility here that we need desperately here, especially in Minnesota with the weather. We need desperately for our student athletes. A lot of times just for practices and stuff, we're really pinched in the facilities we have. We have really nice facilities, but we're not expansive enough to cover all the teams we've had. We're a record number of student athletes right now. How can we serve them better? And what's our role down the road in the future as far as engaging our faith in this sport community? So getting our coaches more involved in their national associations, or getting involved in NCAA committees or in CCA committees, or serving as council members in their communities, or whether that might be school boards. So what does it look like for us to be engaged in the community beyond just our sport here? So I'm excited about the future. I really am. Once again, 26 years at one place, you think it might get kind of stagnant and old, and it doesn't. And I'm glad, because I always need a challenge. For me I need to be challenged. And I'm not somebody that can just sit back and and just cruise. I don't like the cruise. If that's the case, I got to move to something different. And so having our new strategic plan, not abandoning anything we've done in the past, our core values or our compete with purpose mantra. I'm excited about the future. I'm really looking forward to what the Lord has in store for us for the next 25 years. I won't be here in 25 years, but whoever takes over, I hope that I hand off the baton to somebody that says, "Great job. You ran your leg really well, and now it's my turn to take the baton."
Awesome. Love that. All right, we're going to kind of switch gears here. It is time for game time decisions.
Okay.
Quick questions, quick answers from you. No overthinking here. You ready? Perfect. If you had to describe Northwestern athletics in one word, what would it be?
Oh man. Honoring.
Love that. Late game free throws or final exams, which causes more nerves?
Oh, for sure, free throws.
Proudest off the field accomplishment from a student athlete this year?
Boy. Um, lead, a student athlete leading their team in many, many service projects to serve the community.
Love that. You mentioned your music you play. If Northwestern had a walkout song for the whole department, what would it be?
Don't stop believing.
Oh, that's a good one. What sport do you love watching even though you've never played it competitively?
Volleyball. I'd say volleyball for sure.
Best post-win treat, pizza party or ice cream run?
Oh man. Let's go ice cream.
One Northwestern team or athlete to watch this next year?
Uh, that's a great question. Let me think about this to be fair. I gotta go quick. I know. Sorry. I would say Marley Ani, volleyball.
Excellent.
All American.
And if you had to give a locker room speech right now, what's your go-to hype word?
Go to hype word. Um, I would say grit, persistence, something like that.
Love it. Perfect. Well, Matt, this has been such an amazing conversation. Congratulations again on such a special year, not just for the hardware, but for how your teams represented themselves and your university.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time. It's been great.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Matt. It was a good conversation.
Yeah. God bless. Thank you.
And that is going to wrap up another episode of Building a Champion. If this inspired you, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who loves seeing athletics done with excellence and integrity. Until next time, keep striving, keep leading, and keep building champions.